Karen, every once in a while, you get an opportunity to speak with someone that holds a message so profound that you're never really the same again.
That's true.
Well, today we have a treat, Karen, because we have just such an opportunity. But it's not her message for the most part that she shares. The messages that she receives and shares with the world are those of spirit guides, angels, ascended masters, and light beings. Maybe none so well known, however, as the being known as Seth.
This is very exciting.
Yeah, it sure is. Now, some of you may recognize the name from numerous books channeled by Jane Roberts in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And Seth is the being most accredited with the original concept of creating your own reality.
Oh, wow.
And if we're super lucky, well, she might just channel someone from the other side today. My name is Will.
And I'm Karen.
And unlike Mulder and Scully,
we both want to believe.
So we've embarked on a journey of discovery.
We've talked to people deeply entrenched in the spiritual and metaphysical world.
We've thrown ourselves into weird and wonderful experiences. I even joined a coven of witches.
And wait, you joined a coven?
Yep, all in the interest of finding something.
Anything.
That will prove that there's something beyond this physical,
three-dimensional world we all live in.
This is the Skeptic Metaphysicians. Welcome to the Skeptic Metaphysicians. I'm Will.
And I'm Karen.
And today we have a special guest. Julie Smith holds a certification for quantum emotional healing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that is quite the certification. I can't wait to talk to her about it. And while learning this modality, she discovered an ability to speak with her spirit guides, her own spirit guides. Well, then after that, this then developed into an ability to connect with other people's spirit guides, angels, ascended masters, light beings, and so forth. Now, she has mentioned that my spirit guide is very excited to speak with me, and I am like a kid in a candy store. So let me just welcome to the show, Julie Smith. Julie, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm really happy to be here.
I would say I'm beside myself, but that would be a little bit on the nose. So let's just say I'm very excited to speak with my spirit guide, especially after you said that my spirit guide is very anxious to speak with me. It certainly has stayed with me since that day that you mentioned that to me. And I will admit to having lost a little bit of sleep over it because I'm also very nervous.
I'm wondering if I could speak to his spirit guide and maybe get some insight.
Indeed. Well, everybody has spirit guides. If you're human, you have come down with a certain amount of gifts and a spirit guide team that all they want to do is love you, help you, and they are very excited to contact their person. And so it's just a very loving and relaxing kind of communication.
Let's make one rule, and no deep, dark secrets can be revealed to Karen because I'll never hear the end of it. But beyond that,
I had my notebook, my pen.
Sorry for all the hard work that you got now have to throw out the window. But Julie, what exactly are spirit guides? Are they angels? Are they departed souls? What are they? Who are they, and why are they around us all the time?
Well, coming down to the earth is rather the school of hard knocks, if you like. This total free will planet has created so many intense emotions, unlike many other planets. And so we come down here to learn more quickly and most of us don't learn so much from the good times. So we bring in a pile of challenges with us in order to clear out old things from past lives, clear out, karma's not such a big thing anymore, but any old negative stuff that we've been dragging around with us, that bag of crap we drag around, to clear that up. And especially in this life, as we're about to transcend to the fifth dimension, where everything will be different and everything will be much more immediate. You just don't want to be dragging a lot of negative energy with you. So in this lifetime, many people have bought all their old laundry to get it done in this life, and to clear everything up so that they can have a much smoother transition into the fifth dimension, which is all about love, light, peace, harmony, and unity at long last. So this is, that's how that works. But when you choose to incarnate, because that is a pure free will thing, we all choose when we come in and when we leave the planet. You choose, a group of people are attracted to you. They are your parents. So a number of different spirits will come up, and you will have a discussion. And those that resonate most with you and your chosen purpose will become your parents and your siblings and that sort of thing, in whatever order. And then also a group of spirit guides will come, and those that have expertise in what you have chosen to go through in this life, they will be drawn, and the ones that most resonate with you will become your spirit guides. And people have anywhere from 2 to, I've even heard 6, which is rather a lot. And sometimes they change throughout your life. Like you will have 4 spirit guides. You have 3 that were with you since birth, and 1 that came into your team when this idea of your podcast was birthed. And then if you're, on a certain path and you've learned all you can from that spirit guide, sometimes they'll leave and a new one will come in to help you go to the next level. So it is all very harmonious and all in divine right timing.
I don't know why it makes me feel so good to know I've got a spirit guide that came in just after I created the podcast. That's kind of
It does
exciting.
feel good, doesn't it?
It does. It really does.
That loving feeling. It's just
Yes.
nice.
Absolutely.
I wanted to, I guess, maybe change the subject slightly and ask about listen about the quantum emotional healing. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, indeed you did. Well,
What
I
is
was in
that?
a very dark place, and I was just putting in time, hoping to exit the planet, but not in a place where I was willing to do it myself and make the world
Wow.
a better place. That's where I was. It was pretty bleak. And when I was 61, I met a gentleman who gave a seminar that I was invited to on, it was the power of money, the energy of money of all things. And I met this man named Rocky Krogfoss, who went through his own journey 20 years before and had spirit guides working with him. And he developed his own healing modality called quantum emotional healing. And through the course of that evening, he kind of reached in and pushed this huge red button inside of me I didn't even know existed. And my whole body went into a reaction. My insides were trembling for like 3 hours. And I just thought, holy smokes, this man is the real deal. And he had a sheet there that, for sign up for a free healing session. And I thought, well, I was right on it and went to see him, and we made progress in the first session. And I went back to him many times because I had a whole bunch of stuff to deal with. And then through that, in that journey, I learned to speak to my spirit guides. I connected to them, and that was through another person. She channeled my spirit guide for me. And then I was so determined, I went out, and he said he was of the tree kingdom. And so I've had the big tree in a park behind me, and I would go out there all the time and lay hands on the tree and envision it as an aerial to talk to my spirit guides up in the sky. Well, I since learned that our spirits are actually only about 3 feet off the ground, but they're at a different dimension, so we can't see them. But they're very close to us. And anyway, one day I did hear a voice, a faint voice, and I just hung on to it and kept connecting until I could speak freely with that one, and then the rest of my spirit guides. And then, we'd have some fun. And Rocky would say, let's have some fun, shall we? How about we talk to so-and-so and so-and-so? And so I was very fortunate that everybody I tried to connect with, or everybody I reached out to, they agreed to talk to me. And so I was channeling, because his spirit guide is Seth, or one of the Seths. And one, I'm sure Seth has many facets. So I was doing the mediumship thing, the relaying the questions and the answers. And all of a sudden, okay, back up. This was during the time I had, Rocky asked me if I would like to study with him to be a quantum emotional healer, because I was giving him a bad time saying, well, who else does this? And where did you learn it from? And that's when I found out the whole story. And he said, nobody does it. I haven't told anybody. And I was aghast. So I said, you need to do that. So anyway, a couple of weeks later, I got an email saying that I like to be his first student. And I said, absolutely. So during that, towards the end of that year is when I was doing the relay thing with Seth. And all of a sudden, his voice just poured through me. It was the easiest, most spontaneous thing. It was amazing. And so since then, I've been, my focus has been channeling, but the quantum emotional healing that I learned which is all about helping people release negative programs from the subconscious. Because, there's been a lot of science about it. And our subconscious runs us for 95% of our days, our waking hours.
Mhm.
And our subconscious is laid down mostly before we're 8 years old. So we have the 7, 8-year-old who is in charge of us. And the hard part of it all is we're not aware when our subconscious is working. We're not aware of it
Mhm.
because it's below our conscious. But other people can see it, just as we can see other people's issues that
Right.
they're totally not aware of. So we can all have a little more grace, I think, and acceptance for other people because we're all going through this rather strange. Well, it's hard. It's hard. But so the practice of quantum emotional healing is to just listen to people's stories, and certain words tell you exactly where they're at, where their problems are, what they're resistant to, and then help them to relax and sink down into a deeper state, sort of a meditative state, and then talk to their subconscious. And in doing so, help them to release those negative programs in the subconscious so they are totally gone, never to return again unless you were to actively put them back in there. But so things get in the subconscious through hypnosis, because we're in hypnosis for the first 7 years of our lives. That's how we learn to be a human. And also through repetition. So like learning to drive a car. First time you get in, it's very uncomfortable. Now you do it. And most of the time you're not even consciously
You don't
driving.
remember.
Because
You're
if your
aware,
brain is
right.
busy
How did we
thinking
get
about
here?
something else, it's not driving. Your subconscious is doing the driving through all those many experiences. It knows how to do that. So that's how the subconscious is. And I have become a totally changed person through it all. And I would highly recommend individuals do it, because a lot of healing, it makes you feel better for a while, but unless you actually change those subconscious programs, the behavior is just, it's just going to come back again.
So is this, do you just provide healing or do you also teach it? Because this is so interesting. I'd really like to
Well,
know
like
more
I
about
say,
that.
now the focus of my work is channeling. And so I channel for people, their spirit guides, whoever they wish to talk to. In order to, and it's all about, the focus of my work is to help people to love themselves more, to love themselves first and best, with the theory that you can't share what you don't have. So it's not selfish, it's not sinful, it's not a bad thing to love yourself first and best, because then your love energy battery is always full, and you always are in a position of taking care of you, and you can then share that loving energy with those around you, rather than the exhausted, worn out person, because you've given all your love away in the hopes of getting some back, which doesn't actually work so well.
It's like you can't fill someone else's cup without your cup being full.
Exactly. It's, like I say, you can't share what you haven't got. So the idea is the more and you can't, people say, oh, I have compassion for them. Meanwhile, they're raging against themselves. Like us, people's self-talk, my self-talk used to be very toxic. But then it's just words you're giving. But unless your heart is involved in it, they won't actually feel it. Your heart has to be involved in everything in order for it to be more than just empty words from up here.
Now, you mentioned something a little bit earlier on I want to go back to real quickly. You mentioned very flippantly, as if it was nothing, that we are on the verge of transitioning to the fifth dimension.
Yes.
Can you kind of clarify what you mean by that? Because what happened in the fourth?
well, the fourth, we kind of have one dimension that we fluctuate between. On our worst days, we drop down to the 3. On our best days, we go up into the high 4th. And that is most people, but some people are totally in 3D, and some people are even in the 5th dimension already. And it is just a different state of being, but the universe is designed to evolve, and it's Earth's turn. Like our whole solar system, our whole Milky Way galaxy has been evolving. All the planets had been evolving, and now it's our turn. And I don't know, I don't want to freak a bunch of people out, but we are surrounded by millions of light beings in their starships who have come here to help us. And to make this transition, to step into love and light, to let go of the anger, the greed, all the negativity, because you can't. Those energies lower your vibration frequency. And so we need to be in peace, love, harmony, self-love, that sort of thing. It sounds very la 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 woo woo. It's not. But when you love yourself, you're much more willing to be kind to other people.
Oh, yeah.
And that just helps bring people together, because we've been in a state of, we agreed some time ago as a race to enter this duality game, to experience it. And we have taken it way past where it should have gone, should have ended. In December 21st, 2012, the age changed from the age of Pisces to the great golden age of Aquarius. And that is the time where we should now all be in this peaceful, loving, more harmonious, more accepting frame of mind.
When you say transition into the fifth dimension, you're saying, is it like a rapture where we all leave our bodies all of a sudden? Everything just shifts vibrational frequencies?
This is the good news. We keep these bodies, but we are being upgraded from a carbon-based body to a crystalline-based body, because the carbon-based bodies won't last so well in the fifth dimension. The frequency and the vibrations are much higher. And so, yes, and then, there'll be no more disease. We'll be able to live for a long time, all of this good stuff. And, but it is a transition, and we will transition when we raise our own frequencies high enough by letting go of all those negative emotions that I mentioned.
I feel almost like that's impossible, the way things have been going these days.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite. It feels like the opposite.
It does feel like we're going in the opposite direction. You're right. Yeah.
Yes, but in order to get to that world, we have to break all our current systems down that are all non-sustainable. So every institution has to be broken down and allowed to go, because it's not. If we continued on the way we were, we would be extinct in 60 years. That's how bad it is. That is how bad it is. And that's what, things like cancer is so rampant, but there is no gene for cancer. It is brought about purely by destructive self-talk, by self-destructive behavior, by living in those dark, dense energies. The body is not meant to. The body is meant to feel love and light, to be free. We are all divine, sovereign, and free beings. That is the rule. And so on higher levels in the universe, the fifth dimension, of course, is already there. And a lot of these, now this is going to get really trippy, a lot of the beings that are here, the light beings here to help us, is actually us from the future, come back to help us get through this. And so, because there is no time.
Speaking my language.
Well, there we go. There is no time, as you know, like there is on Earth. Yeah. So, and we tend to view light beings and what they do through our lens of time. And it's hard to get past that and just accept that we come and go in different places. All our lives are happening at once, not chronologically in time. And so there's so much more going on than we've been told and that we are aware of. But all that is true.
You're dropping so many things that we could do entire episodes on. This thing about there is no time reminds me of Eckhart Tolle's book when he talks about the fact that, and when you think about it, it really hits home. You can't live in the future and you can't live in the past. Any moment that you're living has to be in the present. We are the only thing we can experience is the present. So when people say you're living in the past or you're living in the future, it's a thought process, right? It's a thought form. You're just projecting your thoughts into those times, but the present moment is the only thing that truly exists. Everything else is just a construct. When you look
It
at it that
is.
way,
Yeah. It's a
it's
memory or it's a
it's really
projection. And so
yeah, it's really quite earth shaking.
Well,
it
and you said
is.
that all the lives are happening at the same time. So what does that mean when you're talking about past life regressions?
Well,
Is that just like
we
a
talk about our
side life
past lives like we had that one, then we had this one, then we had that one. But it was explained to me that they're all actually happening at once because there is no time out there. It's like, those old
That's
fashioned
why.
newspaper, there's a wooden pole and the newspapers are wrapped up on them.
Yeah.
And you see all the pages. Well, it's like that.
Mhm.
It's all in one place, all the pages, but they're on different levels. And so different layers of our lives. And so, yeah,
Mhm.
trippy.
So really, past life regression is really actually interdimensional
Yeah,
contact.
it's like current life
Yes.
jumping.
That's
Well, no,
pretty
because
cool.
that is a different facet of you, if you like. You came in with a different purpose. So it's not you who you are right now living a different life. It's a different portion of
Right,
you to
right.
learn a different lesson. And so, and something else that's interesting about quantum emotional healing, when you heal something in your present life, you heal it all horizontally to all your lives that are having that problem. I heal from that. You also heal 2 generations up and 2 generations down. And so it helps your parents, it
Wow.
helps your children and grandchildren. And because we're all connected, we're all made out of the same stuff. Everything you see is made out of the same stuff. All
Mhm.
So
particles vibrating in different
does that
ways.
healing? I'm sorry, Julie. Does that healing have to happen before the next generation comes in, or it just automatically passes on to my current daughter, for example, if I was to be
Yes.
healed quantumly?
Yes. If she has learned traits or taken on some of the pain that you have, because, she's right near you, she's part of you, then when you heal that theme, that emotional problem, it's all emotion. It's all about emotions. When you heal that, it also dissipates in her.
I
Try
mean,
it.
it sounds amazing, but it's not easy to wrap your head around, right?
No,
Because
no, it's
I
not.
mean,
But you know what?
uh,
We have been so dumbed down. We have not been
Yeah, that's
told
true.
how magnificent we are. I love to channel Saint Germain. He is the Lord of the Great Golden Age of Aquarius, and he loves me to tell everybody, "Okay, write this down, put it on sticky notes all around your house. I am magnificent, and I love myself infinitely." And say it from your heart with real feeling, and keep saying it until you develop a program that keeps you in that state all the time.
it's like, and gosh darn it, people like me.
Well, they will when you love
Uh,
yourself, right?
yeah,
Because they'll pick
very
up
true.
that
Yeah.
energy.
It's true. It is true.
So to transition over to the next phase of our conversation, I guess
Yes.
the main question that I have to ask you before we get started is, we've understood the differences in types of channeling. So the question is, do you consider yourself a conscious channel or a trance channel?
I guess I'm a conscious channel. I really don't know. I've never really questioned it because I don't want to have details get in the way. I am aware of everything that's being said. I just move my ego and personality aside as soon as my channel opens, and I just allow them to use my vocal cords. But I'm aware and staying out of the way and letting them flow through me. So I don't
Huh.
go into a trance. So it's basically my voice. Sometimes a bit of an accent comes through, but it's basically me just giving over the use of my vocal
Gotcha.
cords to them. And sometimes I think, is that me saying that? Because they use my knowledge to, especially, Seth, not so much because he's very familiar with this, but when I'm dealing an entity like someone's spirit guide hasn't talked, I have more to say about spirit guides. They will use my lexicon, if you like, to help them make their point more easily. And so some of the words
Sure.
I've said that, but it's not me saying that, it's them borrowing my language. But spirit guides generally, to answer Sophie before, I don't know how you're going to edit this, but Spirit guides are mostly have had lives on Earth. And that's how they are able to help us as humans. They're familiar with the human condition. They know how we work.
Mhm.
But
Had
one
that
of my spirit
experience.
guides has never incarnated, but the other three all have. So, and I've had two
Gosh.
of my spirit guides change. So, things happen.
That brings up the question.
Mm.
How did you know that my spirit guide is anxious to speak with me? Are you also in connection with them without actually channeling them, or did they come through and say, I must speak to Will?
No, I
In
generally
that voice.
reach, yeah, exactly. No, I reach
I mean,
out.
I kind of imagine my spirit guide being very manly,
I think
right?
it's a woman.
Well, you're in for a shock then. No, what I do is when someone comes to me, they want to have a session, and we set it up. I'll ask them, who would you like to talk to? Because if they want to speak with an entity I haven't channeled before, I like to have the time to go to them and make introductions and tell them why I'm coming to them. It may be very old-fashioned and pedantic, but it's my comfort zone that I go to them and say, this is me, so-and-so would like to talk to you. Are you willing to channel through me? And if they say yes, great. And so when someone wants to talk to their spirit guides, or, I had a feeling it might be something you might like. So I will reach out to the spirit guide, Will Rodriguez. This is Julie, that I'm going to be talking to Will, and he would like to talk to you. Actually, I didn't say that because I didn't know at the time. Would you be willing to channel through me if Will would like to talk to you? That's what I asked.
Hmm.
I'm very polite. I don't know if everybody does this, but we set it up ahead of time, and I asked their name. So your spirit guide that talks from your team is Mariana.
Mariana is my spirit guide.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, and you had
Well,
three others.
this is the new spirit guide that just came on then, is who
No.
is going to be talking through you.
No, Mariana has been with you for her life since you came in, along with, two others. And then
Right.
the fourth one joined. I had a feeling that was a male, joined when you chose to do the podcast.
So interesting. I think we could we can devote entire show to you for the next year and not get through all of the information I've got to ask you. But
you're chomping at the bit, aren't
I
you?
am. You can see
You're
me
ready.
moving, rocking in my chair. All right. So then, Julie, how do we do this? How do we usher Mariana into the conversation? Yeah.
Well, I'll just close my eyes and call her because she's with us right now. She loves to hear your voice through me. It's because I'm an open channel, it goes both ways. And when they hear your voice, they don't just hear your words, but they feel the vibration that those words are floating on. And it tells them much more about what you're really saying than just the words. Because words can be misleading, but it gives them a much greater feeling of where you're at emotionally.
Okay.
And so they love to hear it.
So do I need to ask questions? Is there messages going to come through? How does that work?
It'll be just like, I'll have my eyes closed when I'm channeling, but other than that, it'll be just like we are now, having a cozy chat, I like to say. So they'll sing hello to you, and they'll ask you to, I don't know what she's going to say. I'm not going to speak for her, but she will, come in and then ask if you have any questions, or because mostly they ask that so that you will talk, so they can hear you and feel you.
Wow. Okay.
On a different level than they do, all the time with you.
Sure. Okay. Well, then I think we're ready. If you and Mariana are ready, we're excited to get started.
Well, dear, this is Mariana, your spirit guide that talks to your team. How are you?
A little odd, a little nervous, but excited at the same time. It's nice to talk to you.
Yes, and it is lovely to hear you. Although I've been with you from birth, this is a different form of communication, and now you are aware of me. So your consciousness is reaching out to me too, which is something different for you. And so we are having a much more, I could say, intimate conversation, if that doesn't scare you. So do you have questions for me? Is there anything you'd like to ask of me? I speak for your whole team, but they have elected me to be the boss.
Okay. I have lots of questions, so get ready. I doubt we'll get through them all, but we're going to try. Probably the one question that jumps out at me the most at this present time, I don't want to say phase, the period of life that I'm going through now, the changes, the evolution that I'm undergoing, the awakening that I'm undergoing. Is this something that I'm ready for, or am I trying to push it too soon, or am I way overdue?
You're overthinking it. It is a natural
I knew you were gonna say
evolution
that.
that if you relax and allow all the changes to flow through your being with grace and ease, it will be a much smoother transition. Because there is a problem when you resist. They like to say change is not painful, but resistance to change is painful. Because you're stopping the natural progression of things when you put your hand up and say, no, 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 no. But the thing is, you're never really ready for it. How can you be ready for something you've never experienced before? But the ease comes when you trust that whatever is coming is way better than what was. And so bring it on. It may be different, but that doesn't mean you won't like it. It doesn't mean it will be hard or painful. As you go through your spiritual evolution and elevate your vibrations, life becomes easier because you're more connected to more of you. You're more aware of who you are. You're more connected to your gifts, your abilities. You have a greater sense of what your purpose is. And no, I can't tell you what it is. There are rules to being a spirit. And we cannot tell anybody anything about them that would change their current path. You must take your one step at a time. Because if I were to tell you, oh, your purpose is this, and you just did a right angle turn somewhere else, you would miss all the steps you need to take to learn all those things that will help you get to your purpose more quickly. And if you try and take shortcuts, because you'll just be missing some relevant info.
Am I at least on the right path now?
Indeed. Do you love what you're doing?
Yes. Yes.
Are you filled with passion and fun?
I would say
some
yes.
things,
Yeah.
but just about this podcast, about what you are choosing to do. Life throws things at you that is not always pleasant and exciting, but the work that you are choosing to do, that is where your purpose lies. And but not all people choose to do things that align with their purpose. But you will know if you are in alignment with that, if you're loving what you're doing, if you feel good about it, if you feel elevated by it and not sunk under a weight. That is your clue. And so then, doesn't mean to say you'll be doing this forever. For something new may come along and it's like, oh, wow. But you need to have hand on heart. Because sometimes the head will give you instinctual answers based on what it's learned, it's like a computer. Whatever you've put into it, it will send things out. But if you get that quiet, warm glow that you just know this feels good, has no fanfare, just lands soft as a feather, but it is soft. And you know, that is your intuition telling you, this is right. This is resonating with me. And those are the messages you follow. And then you just lean into it more, you step into it more. And once you make a commitment, then what you will find is when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And so you will be connected with people that help you, give you information. You will have experiences that open you up more to do whatever it is your chosen route. And so this is how we learn. sadly, it's humans don't always learn best through the fun, the good experiences. They tend to just sit back and say, wow, this is great. I'm on easy street, But if we wish to spiritually progress, it generally involves a challenge of some kind so that you can work through all the levels of the pain, the forgiving of them, the forgiving of self, the letting it go, and to rise above it. That's where you, and in the understanding what it was all about, and in the forgiving self as well as the other, that's where you mine the wisdom. And after all, when you leave the planet, that's all you take with you is your wisdom. It is a very treasured resource. And you keep it like you have innate wisdom in your being. You have knowledge that you have amassed through all of your lives. It is all there. You bring everything in to each life to fulfill your purpose. Because everything you need, you already have. It is just a matter of relaxing, creating that safe and sacred space inside you for that information to well up and come to your consciousness. It's not about running around in circles. It's here, looking, grabbing, trying to find. That just pushes everything you want away. It is about becoming still, about trusting yourself, hand on heart. If you ever want to do anything like that, spiritual work, putting your hand on your heart helps, because wherever you touch your body is where your attention goes. So if you want to work from your heart, which you must, then you just put your hand there and take some deep breaths and just relax. And ask, what is it I need now? Ask simple things that will reveal, and you get a bit of an answer, and then you just keep working with it until you know where you're going and what's to do next. For after all, it is just one step at a time. And so when you have a big task ahead of you, it is not about how am I going to get from here to there. It is all about asking, what is my next step? And before you know it, you've taken all these baby steps, and then you're somewhere else entirely. And then you'll look back and say, wow, how did I get from there to here? You didn't concentrate on the big task, you just concentrated on the next step. And when you do that, you get to where you need to go.
Now, Julie mentioned that you had been with me since birth and that we're in constant communications. How do you speak to me? How are we in communication? How can I get closer to have that conversation or that communication be more conscious?
Well, through choice.
Can I?
When you were a child, you were much more easy to talk to. But then as you become conscious around the age of 7 or 8, then the world comes in and takes over. And the schooling system is designed to dumb you down, not to open you up and elevate you. And so these things happen and life happens and you forget about us. Yeah. But now that you're aware, you can choose to just talk to me whenever. Just mentally call out to me whenever you have a quiet moment. And now we have connected, it will be easier for us. You have every ability to consciously have a chat with us. And it's just like, telepathy is the word they use when humans talk to humans, and that is a little bit of a different process, but it's the same idea, that you have a conversation in your head that is not verbal.
Now, I'm hogging all the microphone time. Would you mind if Karen asks you some questions?
No, actually, I have a message for you, Karen, because you're rather capable of connecting to spirit and even channeling. It's right there, right there. You just have to trust and choose, because it is all free will. Nothing in your lives has been done to you. You have attracted it all through the law of attraction, through your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, and through what you brought into this life. And so it helps. I mean, in some way, that is very dismaying. Like, what do you mean? I wouldn't have chosen that. What do you mean? But it's true because the law of attraction is working 24/7. And so that means if you take all your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs and make a soup out of it, that vibration goes out to the universe and brings you back like experiences. And the reason that happens is to help you become aware. Why does this keep happening to me? It is to make you aware that this is a problem and it needs to be released. You need to engage in some self-healing or get help to go through this healing process so that you can let go of that old stuff. Karen, please talk to me. I'm sorry.
And do I have a lot of old stuff to get rid of?
Well, there is old stuff and there is new stuff. And this COVID has not been kind to many people. The whole idea was to breed fear and division amongst people. It was the whole idea of this exercise. It was planned. It's not a natural thing. Very controversial, I know, but we see it all come up through. But so let it go. The thing is, what you worry about, you feed. What you focus on grows. So if you're constantly worried and stressing, whatever you're worrying and stressing about, you are feeding, you are growing. And so choose to fill your mind with pleasant thoughts. Remember that great vacation. Just change the channel really quickly whenever you find yourself feeling down in the dumps or fearful, whatever, wondering about this, worrying about that. Just take a breath and relax. And remember some happy times.
Just one more question. How can I learn to love more?
Is that even possible?
It's always
It is.
You are the most loving person I've ever met.
I can be better.
Well, but you know what? Everybody can love more because really, there is so much more. So much more. But you do that by stopping the negative talk. You can only love others to the extent that you love yourself. So the whole thing is to love yourself more. Walk up to the mirror, look deep in your eyes, smile and say, I love you. And when you can do that, you know you're on the way. We've made the start on the journey to loving yourself and consciously opening it. Pull in pure love if you're surrounded by it. Pull in pure love directly into your heart to open it and grow it and fill your inner space with pure love of self. And do this consciously, well, not so much consciously, but with your hand on your heart, with emotion, not just words of the brain, but feeling it, feeling it. That's what moves mountains, is the emotions. And it can be done, and it's a choice. Because once you make that choice, say, I wish to love more. No, I am love, and I am loved. Say that to yourself many times a day, along with, I am magnificent, and I love myself. Of course.
And gosh darn it, people like me. So, Mariana, is there any reason whatsoever to deprive yourself of things that make you feel good?
No.
Is there any reason why we should feel bad for wanting things that bring us pleasure at all time?
No, but as a child, were you taught money doesn't grow on trees? You're stupid. You're like, a lot of times we choose parents that aren't going to be particularly nice to us. And that is their job, to create, if you like, to feed those programs we came in with so that they will get our attention later in life when we are more aware and we can go in, please. So it's a lot to take in, isn't it? That's why I say in all of your life, nothing was done to you. You attracted it all to you through the law of attraction, through the programs, through the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. All of that. You don't come in an empty vessel. you come in with all kinds of things that you're brought in because you didn't get it right last time. You want to get it right this time. Just karma was, a thing when you were born. And so you had some people come in with very painful, short and painful lives, and they're volunteered for that so that they can mitigate some of the karma they've created by being less than pleasant in other lives. So there is so much going on, but it is all in divine right timing. If you can learn to relax and go with the flow, to follow your intuition, to love yourself and relax and stop trying to make sense out of it. Stop the hamster wheel from going round and round. Because the more you grab for things, the more you push them away. The way you attract things into your life is creating that loving, welcoming space for it to feel into. There's so much more that we could say about that, but there is time today.
Yes. We are woefully running out of time quickly. Mariana, have I turned the corner? Have I learned the majority of lessons that I need to learn in order to move in this direction? Because obviously you can tell, anyone can tell that talks to me, that I'm ready to put my past behind me and continue on this path of rebirth that I have adopted. And though I know probably obstacles are always going to come up, I'm really curious to know whether the majority of the internal work that I've had to do over the past 2 years is that now behind me.
Yes and no. But when you have trauma and deep problems, your pain to heal, you have to think of it like an onion. And as you release one layer, it basically just makes room for the next layer to come up. And so you have made great inroads, but there is still more that will come up as you are ready for it. And so there will always be something, there is still some trauma that you have chosen to ignore, because some things, you don't just push them down. You dig a deep hole, you stick it in a box, you nail the box shut, you put it under the floorboards, you nail and hammer things to stop, to cover the floorboards. And so it takes some time to get into them, some time for you to be willing to let it out. And the thing about this going into your past traumas, the thing to remember is that the idea is not to relive the trauma. The idea is that when a traumatic event happens, you make a judgment about that event. 100 people will have exactly the same event and create 100 different emotions from it. And so when you go into your subconscious, you're feeling the feelings that occurred around that event. And you have been living with those feelings. I mean, you lived through the actual event, and you've been living with those feelings affecting you on different layers, just not consciously. But you have been living with them ever since those events happened. And so now to be willing to go in and just feel as much as you can. Because when you feel into those emotions, you are activating those molecules. You are activating that energy, and then it can be moved. If you're just ignoring it, they are just stuck down there, emitting their messages, but not moving. So they're stuck in a time loop. So when you actually engage in them just by feeling and being willing to do that, then the more you can feel, the more you can hear. Because what you do is you transmute it, which means you change it from negative. And you can either transmute it back to source, or you can transmute it into pure love of self. The choice is yours. But the idea is to move it from where it has been stuck all this time. Because all those negative programs, really, all they want to do is to be heard. So just by hearing that, you're changing the energy of them. And then when you consciously transmute them into something else, then that makes you feel much better.
Well, this has been absolutely fascinating. It's an absolute pleasure to formally meet you, Mariana, and thank you for bringing across these messages.
Our hearts are full with being so close to your will. And it is lovely to feel that you can. We are,
Oh, thank you.
we are really thrilled. And we love you. We love you infinitely. Even when you don't love yourself. We are sending love and holding you in our hearts. Always. Because we don't. We do. Yeah. Hopefully we will hear from you soon. Just reach out and talk to
count
us.
on it.
We will hear you, even if you don't hear us. Bid you namaste.
Well, welcome back, Julie.
Thank you. Sometimes I don't want to because it's good.
Yeah, no, it seemed incredibly peaceful. Is that experience, is it draining at all? Is it, like you said, just sidestepping and letting something come through you? What does that feel like? Do you feel anything bodily? Any sensations?
Not really. No, it is just, I feel more love. I do, because I pick up on their energy and spirits and higher love energy. So I certainly feel that. And that's that, and at the end, and it's like, do I have to open my eyes and come back? But, come back to this level, right? So,
Right.
no, it is very peaceful. And because I'm not aware of time passing, I have actually channeled for like 3 hours straight. And after that, yeah, I'm a little bit drained, but it is not, I don't feel the passing of time. I don't feel like it's work. It's just, I just relax and let go and kind of sit back. So I'm not really doing anything, just allowing. Can't really answer that yet. In time.
Yeah.
I haven't been actually channeling for that long, since 2018. So there is so much more to learn, and that excites me. Because if I thought I knew it all now, well, what's the point now? What's the point of doing anything else if I know it all now, right?
Yeah. Can anyone channel these beings that you channel, or is there special attunement you have to undergo?
I think I've done it before in previous lifetimes because it happens so naturally and spontaneously. But I think, I know that when you're ready, if this is something you choose to do, and that you do the spiritual work to keep your vibrations up so that because their vibrations are high, and you have to raise yours to meet them partly. And also, if you don't have no vibrations high, you can fall into the trap of encountering low level entities, and even your own spirit guides, but in a lower level. And then with them, it wouldn't be a problem, except that you would only bring through a certain level of information. If you wish to bring through higher level information, you need to do your spiritual work, clear all those negative things as much as you can. Just keep working on it, and have a practice where you elevate your vibrations however you can. Naturally, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. I'm into whole food, plant-based food, and I've lost over 100 pounds since I've started all this, and it's just all of those things. Yeah, I was a sorry state, I can tell you. But that just thrills me to know how far I've come. So turning 60, I say 60s are the best years. Don't fear it. It just gets better.
Right around the corner.
Yep. Not that far away.
Yeah. So,
well, Julie, thank you so much for coming on and sharing of your expertise and your channeling with us. Thank you for being open to bringing through my spirit guide, because that was quite the treat. And thanks for spending the time with us.
It was my pleasure, and I'm so grateful to have the opportunity, because you both asked great questions, and so that makes it more fun for me.
Now, if anyone wanted to reach out to you to get someone to come through to channel or any information, what's the best way for someone to reach out to you?
Well, as I've been told, I've kind of been flying under the radar. So right now it's my email. email is the best. I don't have a website yet. It's, I'm going to get there. I haven't read the book yet. I'm going to get there. But there's all things in my future. I've just been really enjoying and getting into the channeling experience. And I still feel like I have more to do here before I start spreading my energies around and that sort of thing.
Okay.
And being a troglodyte, building a website doesn't sound exciting work.
For sure.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we're going to go ahead and lay in a direct link to your email in our show
Yes.
notes. So if you're listening to this on your phone, all you need to do is hit that information button, go to our show notes, and you will see a link there that will get you connected directly to her email. And if you're listening to this on the radio, all you got to do is go to skepticmetaphysician.com, go to the episode page, and go to Julie's episode, and you'll see the same link there directly for you. So it will make it super easy for you to connect with Julie, because what she's doing is really wonderful. And these messages, really
so lovely. There's like this loving, this soft, wonderful feeling.
absolutely. Just like Mariana said, their heart is full. Well, I think my heart is probably overflowing. So I need to go take some Tums or something.
No, that's a good feeling.
It
You
is a
want
good
that
feeling.
feeling.
It is.
Will.
I'm just teasing, of course.
I
But
know.
yeah, no, it is a very nice feeling. So, once again, Julie, really a pleasure having you on the show, and we look forward to maintaining in contact.
Thank you. I would love that. And thank you again so much for this opportunity. I really enjoyed myself today. Thank you.
And thank you for coming along on this journey of discovery. We'd love to continue our conversation with you on our website or on Facebook and Instagram. You can find us there at Skeptic Metaphysician or skepticmetaphysician.com. And if you're listening to this on the radio and you missed something, not to worry. All of our shows, including this one, can be found at, of course, skepticmetaphysician.com, where you can also watch the videos or even send us email or voicemails directly from the site. We absolutely love feedback and would really love to hear from you as well. Well, we hope that you have enjoyed this episode as much as we have, especially me have. Man, that's all we have for now, but we'll see you on the next episode of The Skeptic Metaphysicians. Until then, take care.